Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back with another video, and this is going to be episode 31 of Your Questions Answered. If you're not familiar with it, Your Questions Answered is a Q&A series that I do on this channel. If you want to see your question answered in one of these videos, leave it in the comment section below. Make sure it's Lego, Star Wars, or Lego Stars related, and then check back next week to see if you made the cut. I also want to give special thanks to Mysterio1264. He was this week's intro contributor. I thought it was really cool that you did a little stop motion there, and those stop motion intros just really mean the most to me. I have very deep roots into the Lego stop motion world, so anytime I see you guys do something like that for this channel, it really does mean a lot to me. And once again, I always say, guys, if you want to see your custom intro at the beginning of these videos, send it to me as an unlisted YouTube video. I am just always accepting these intros. It's a really cool way for you guys to be a little bit creative, get some exposure for yourself, but then also, you know, just do something cool for the channel. So obviously make sure it's something appropriate for one of these videos. And you know, if it is, then you'll definitely see it at the beginning of one of these videos. Before I jump into your questions answered, I just want to direct you guys to a little post that I made in my community tab earlier today. Basically, the debate has finally come to a fan vote. David Hall and I have been debating this literally ever since we worked on our Crait mocks, and the question is basically, what color is that door on the Crait base? Is it dark tan? Is it gray? Here are some pictures of the door. I personally side on the color being dark tan. David Hall believes that it is closer to a Lego dark bluish gray color, so we're putting it to a vote. So go to that poll on my community tab, put in your vote. I really want to see what does the general consensus say about the color of that door. We will resolve this one way or another. Jumping into the first question of the day, it comes from Brick Freak. He says, if you would be a character in Star Wars, who and where would you be? And if you could switch with a character, who would you choose? First thing that came to my mind was Django Fett, being the clone DNA, having an army of you saying, instead of brothers, boyos. When I read that, I got such a kick out of it. That's actually a really funny idea, like a big army of Rich Boy J's being the clones, and we call each other boyos. That sounds like some good Star Wars to me. My initial gut feeling is that I would want to be Grumgar. He literally just gets to sit around in Maz's cantina all day long. He's freaking huge. He's obviously a big physical specimen, so I doubt people want to mess with him. And of course, he has the lovely Bazine by his side. There's really nothing more you could want out of life. That man truly has it all. Next question comes from Joshua Nelson, and he says, I just want an Ewok battle pack. It's not really a question, but I put it in here because I did want to talk about the idea of an Ewok battle pack, and this is something that I would definitely get behind. Ever since I saw Brickplumber's indoor mock at Legoland Star Wars Days, I have just really had a fascination with indoor. And I mean, even without seeing that mock, I think we can all really appreciate what indoor has to offer us. And of course, indoor is populated with many different Ewoks. So the more Ewoks we could get, the more different Ewoks that we can get. I would certainly be all in for it. I thought Ewok Village did a really good job at just giving us tons of Ewok figures, but I mean, there's more out there, and Lego could give us even more of them. I would love to make a little diverse Ewok army. I think that the more Ewoks we get, obviously, will make our indoor mocks better because we can bolster them with more named and generic Ewoks. So I am all for an Ewok battle pack. Next question comes from Ben Adrasic. He says, how do you feel about the Stormtrooper battle pack at $20? So I'll talk about the price first. The price is not ideal. Other than it having the new helmets, I don't really see a need for the price to be higher. And even then, I don't see why the newer helmets would justify the price being higher than any other battle pack. Like, the build isn't anything more special than a traditional battle pack that we would get. I think it's probably $20 because they're adding the extra anniversary figure in there, which is kind of unfortunate because this is one that I think a lot of people are going to buy. And I mean, the price may not deter people as much, but it would have just been perfect if they would have had this still be at $15 like every other battle pack. That being said, though, I really do love this set. I think that it's so nice that even with this new Stormtrooper mold, Lego's like out of the gate giving us an easy way to collect them. I remember when they came out with the last version of the Stormtrooper, it was like half a year to a year before we got those guys in the battle pack, because I think it probably debuted in like the Boba Fett Slave 1. I think that may have been the first set that it was in. And it was in an advent calendar as well. And those were like the only two sets that it was in until the like Slave 1. And those were like the only two sets that it was in until that Rogue One Y-Wing, which, okay, you know, if you buy all the sets, boom, you have 3, congratulations. But, you know, we still had to wait until a little while after that for that battle pack to come out and for us to actually be able to get a big amount of those Stormtroopers. So Lego is very nice by not making us wait right out of the first year of us getting this new helmet. We're going to have a battle pack with it. So, I mean, I can't really complain about that at all. Next question comes from Zach Griffith. He says, what is your least favorite original trilogy UCS set? So, I mean, really up until a certain point, none of the UCS sets looked amazing. Like, really, those first like 4 or 5 years or so, they were not good looking builds if you compare it to some of the builds of today. And I'm not gonna fault Lego for that. Like, obviously they had to work with what they could work with. The biggest thing that sticks out to me is the fact that the TIE Fighter wings were blue, and it took them so long to correct it from being blue. Like, obviously, if you look at the TIE Fighters, I think there's a lot of scenes where you'd probably say that they're closer to like the Lego sand blue color. But I mean, they definitely weren't that like bright, vibrant Lego blue that they put on the wings. And I mean, clearly initially they thought at least some of it was light gray because like the base of the body was typically a light gray and dark gray color, but they just decided to add blue for the accents of the wings. I don't know, I thought that was really confusing, and it took them so long to finally correct that, which was even more surprising. But yeah, a lot of those initial UCS sets, they were not wonderful. I think the one that really sticks out to me as just not being good at all is the original X-Wing. If you look at that thing now, I feel like it just has not aged well at all. The biggest thing is, for me, is of course those small, tiny engines on the sides of the ship. Like, they just look so bad and disproportionate. And the sad thing about that is Lego to this day has still not fixed that. They took a second shot at the UCS X-Wing, still decided to give it those same engine parts. So I don't know, that's a really confusing decision for me. I think that the engines certainly need to be much bigger than that on the UCS X-Wing, especially now that the especially now that the system scale X-Wing has that size of engines. They really just should have had it corrected from the beginning. I don't think that was a particularly difficult thing for them to do. Next question comes from Alyssa Page 484, and they say, "Thanks for asking my question, Admiral Boyo. Do you think that we'll ever get a UCS A-Wing? If so, how would you want it to be designed, new pieces, etc.? Along those lines, do you think we'll ever get a dual-molded A-Wing pilot with a visor not being printed on?" So for the first part of that, do I think we'll get an A-Wing? Absolutely. It's the one main Rebel starfighter that we haven't gotten, so I would say we'll definitely get that at some point. I'd probably say the A-Wing is more iconic than the B-Wing, and we have a UCS B-Wing, so by virtue of that, I think at some point we'll definitely get a UCS A-Wing. As for new parts, I was looking at the design, and I mean, I would really like to see how Lego would tackle those curves on the sides of it. A-Wing is a very interestingly shaped ship. There are actually quite a few people who have done like custom UCS versions of it, and all of them look quite good. I like the way that a lot of people have done the cockpit. It literally just looks like a scaled up version of that same Lego cockpit. So I don't really think it would be necessary for Lego to do a custom cockpit piece on that. I know that I'm always campaigning for Lego to do custom cockpit molds for these UCS sets, but this is a case where you have existing pieces that can really get the job done well. So I don't think that's absolutely necessary. I can't really think of any other like new parts that you'd really need for it. But the one thing that you did mention was like a new helmet for the A-Wing pilots. And I was looking at A-Wing pilots, and I'm pretty sure they don't have visors. Like the Last Jedi A-Wing pilots do. Like Tali has hers, and she keeps it up above the helmet for the most part. But like I was looking for some reference material of like literally any A-Wing pilot that has like a visor anywhere on the helmet, and it does not appear to me that the A-Wing pilots actually have visors, which is positive because that means that the A-Wing helmets that we've gotten so far will not obsolete by them doing the dual molding now. Like you can just have those right alongside your dual molded Rebel pilot helmets and you'll be good to go. That being said, it is still not a given that Lego has fully committed to those dual molded helmets. And I mean, it would be really sad if they didn't. Like, part of me says, okay, you know, if they don't commit to it, fine. I still have all these other helmets that are still accurate and that still work. But I would really hate for the new helmets to just become this random thing that Lego tried to experiment with in 2018 and then they never look back at it ever again. It would, I don't know, I don't like that. So please, Lego, make a decision. Are you gonna stick with the new helmets or not? Let us know. The next question also comes from Alyssa Page 484. I assure you guys I did not do this on purpose. Like, I just picked the questions that I thought were good. It just happened to be the case that this person got 2 questions in here and that they were both back to back. So congratulations to you. Thanks for asking good questions. And once again, they say, do you prefer the characters in the LEGO Star Wars video games to speak, like in the Force Awakens game, or not to, like in the Complete Saga video game? Well, I remember when I was gonna buy the Force Awakens and I was actually like really excited that they were finally gonna be speaking, because I remember playing Lego Batman 2 with my little brother, and I just love the fact that they could speak, and I remember just thinking, like, if Lego Star Wars got an update like this, it would be great. That being said, having played the game, I don't feel like them speaking really added much to the experience. And I mean, it could just be the case that, you know, the humor in the game is a little bit different than the humor of the original games. Like, it really seems like the humor in the original games was really like just a byproduct of them telling the story, whereas with the Force Awakens game, like, it was humor first. Like, every opportunity to have characters on the screen was an opportunity for them to tell some sort of joke. But I think, like, if you're gonna do the humor with Star Wars characters, it comes off a lot better if they're not speaking. Like, it kind of forces the characters to be creative in what they're trying to convey and the things they're trying to tell the story with. So ultimately, I think I prefer for them to not speak, which was really disappointing because I was like so excited the characters are finally going to be speaking, and they had the original voice actors doing it, but it just, I don't know, it just didn't come off very well for me in the games. But I would love to know what you guys think about it. If you guys have played the Complete Saga and the Force Awakens, like, which did you prefer, the cutscenes from the Complete Saga where they weren't speaking, or those from the Force Awakens where they did speak? Next question comes from Starboys, and he says, you may have answered this question before, but I am new to this channel, so what are your thoughts on the Solo Lego wave? I genuinely believe it had some of the best sets, and I'm curious if there were any more you felt they could have made. So as for the initial Solo wave, I really thought it was a great wave. Like, the Kessel Run Falcon, I thought, was the best version of the Falcon that LEGO has ever made at that scale. I had so much fun building that thing and like playing around with it, and I'm a big fan of that set. Outside of that, I'd say the second best set from that wave was Han Solo's speeder. That thing was just so freaking cool. I still have it built to this day, and I mean, it looks so good, and that I would never feel the need to like build a mock of something that looks better than it. LEGO just did such a wonderful job at it. The Moloch speeder I feel is pretty forgettable. However, I understand why they made the set to kind of be a compliment to Han's speeder, and you can have the little recreation of the chase scene from the beginning of the film. The TIE Fighter, you guys know how I feel about LEGO TIE Fighters. I'm generally not impressed by them, especially since I've built the Jarek TIE Fighters. So that being said, the fact that we did get a new standard TIE Fighter was a really good addition to just the catalog of LEGO sets. And then I guess they released the Battle Pack right alongside the initial wave of sets, which is cool because they don't really do that ever when it comes to these new films. I thought the Battle Pack was fine. I love the inclusion of the Imperial Officer because the like cap with a printed little logo on the front is not, or was not, an easy piece to get at the time, so it was nice to load up on those. All the other figures in the set, I mean, they were good figures. They're just not things that I would really want to like army build with, and as such, I didn't really buy too many of that set. I will say it is kind of disappointing that the battle pack that we got included the trooper that we saw the least of in that movie. Like, I would have preferred to have, you know, if we're just gonna have to put in the patrol trooper, then also include like the Mimban trooper, or maybe a range trooper, since we see more of those guys. I mean, there's 2 of those patrol troopers in the battle pack, but I think we literally only see 1 of them in the film. So I thought that was an interesting inclusion. The one thing I will give credit for that battle pack is like, that's probably the best battle pack build I've seen in a long time. Like, it's great for what it is. It's something that actually exists, which is always a positive. I can always appreciate battle packs that have builds that I actually want to build and even build multiples of. As for sets I think they could have made, well, the biggest one that sticks out to me is some sort of set involving Dryden's room at the top of his yacht, because we don't have a Dryden Voss minifigure yet, so it'd be nice to get the figure of the main villain. Other than that, I think a Kessel set with maybe some of the like generic random alien workers would be cool, and an L3 figure would also fit right alongside there. It is weird that like there are quite a few main characters from Solo that we just still haven't gotten, so hopefully we'll get those guys at some point. Next question comes from Lightside Kylo, and he says, the Knights of Ren are secretly Rich Boy J's porgs and have not appeared in episodes 7 and 8 because they were guarding his mod. This is funny because it's a reference to one of the comments I made in the last year questions answered, and I mean, he has a good point, guys. My porgs are the greatest warriors in the galaxy, and they might just be making an appearance in Star Wars Episode 9 as the Knights of Ren. Here's a question for everyone in the chat. If I had to name my porg, should I call them the Knights of Ren or the J-Torian Guards? Which one of those do you think will work better? Final question comes from Imperial Brick Productions, and he says, question, do you watch any Star Wars lore YouTube channels, i.e. Star Wars Theory, Explain, Star Wars Comics, Generation Tech, etc.? The only one of these channels that I'm actually subscribed to is Star Wars Explain. I like Alex Damon a lot. He's good to listen to. I actually probably watch him more in the Collider videos, Schmodown challenges when they do the Star Wars trivia. But as in regards to the other channels, not really. I'm not super interested in Star Wars Theory. I would like to learn more about the comics. I feel there's some interesting stories that are told there. I've just never really been a comic book person, so maybe at some point I'll like dive deeply into that. But like Star Wars Explained is the only one out of this list that I'm subscribed to, and I'll check his videos out every now and again. It's always nice to do your research and studying for your Star Wars knowledge, because nothing makes you more of a boyo than being powerful in the knowledge of Star Wars. And that's gonna finish up the video, guys. I appreciate you for watching this, and like I always say, if you want to see your questions answered in these videos, put it in the comment section below. Make sure it's Lego Star Wars or Lego Star Wars related, and then check back next week to see if you made the cut. Also, I am urging you guys to send me more intros. I never have enough of them, so please send them over, and if they're appropriate, I'll definitely put them at the beginning of one of these videos. So like I always say, guys, if you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.